Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of YO2A Arsenal Roundup News. I'm your host, Richard Espinoza. We are your primary source of Second Amendment news, whether if it's here in the great state of Wyoming or any part of the United States, whether if it's good, bad, or ugly, or if it will help benefit your Second Amendment rights or cause an effect to your Second Amendment rights. I'm here to inform you, to keep you informed so you know who to contact if your Second Amendment rights are being violated. Well, today is a great day of victory for American gun owners, and I could not be any prouder than I am today. In fact, I am excited and I am stoked. I am just very pleased with the hard work and dedication that Gun Owners of America has done, especially for standing up for law-abiding gun owners such as myself and you, the American people. They have become the ultimate bulldog when it comes to fighting for our Second Amendment rights. I just could not be any prouder than I am today. And thanks to the leadership with Eric Pratt and many others from Gun Owners of America, they deserve a pat on the back for what they have achieved with the state of Tennessee in getting PLACA passed. And in case you don't know what PLACA is, it is the Protection of Lawful Commerce of Arms Act, which will prevent future frivolous lawsuits from happening. PLACA will help prevent these gun control groups and these corrupt lawyers that represent these gun control groups such as Michael Bloomberg's Every Town for Gun Safety, the Brady Campaign, the Violence Policy Center, the Southern Poverty League, Moms Demand Action, Sandy Hook's Promise, and all these radical leftist gun control groups will no longer be able to sue these manufacturers in the state of Tennessee, because Tennessee is now a Second Amendment sanctuary state under PLACA. So in other words, out of states outside of Tennessee cannot drag a lawsuit into their state because they are protected within the state, which is great news. And hopefully other red states will follow through. Currently, right now, the bill is on the desk of Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, and more than likely, Bill Lee will sign this into law. He will sign this important legislative bill to send a powerful message to these corrupt lawyers. Don't sue the manufacturers, sue the perpetrators. And the sad thing is, and I just don't get it, that these corrupt lawyers, they don't even sue the alcohol industry when somebody drinks and drives. They don't sue Budweiser, Miller, Coors, or these other alcohol beverage industry when somebody drinks and drives. You don't see them suing them. And why is that? That's a good question. Why? Why don't they? And then you have people who drive erratically in their automobiles. You don't see these corrupt ambulance chasing lawyers sue Ford or General Motors or Nissan or BMW or Mercedes or even Lamborghini. If somebody carjacked a Lamborghini, they don't sue the auto industry for that. But why did they do it to the firearm industry? Well, it's very simple, because the firearm industry is where the money is for these lawyers. They go where the money is. They care about money. They don't care about safety. They don't care about building a safer community, because if they did, these gun control groups wouldn't be supporting these corrupt prosecutors who let the dogs out in the first place. That's right. The majority of these gun control groups support corrupt district attorneys who are soft on crime, and then they end up committing a school shooting or a robbery, which paves waves and licks chops for these corrupt ambulance chasing lawyers to make money. That's what it's all about. See, gun control is never about safety. Never was. It's all about control. You see, when you pass these ridiculous, unlawful ridiculous gun control laws. It defeats the purpose of us being a constitutional republic. It defeats the purpose of us being a free nation. And that is why you don't infringe upon a constitutional right. Because when you infringe upon a constitutional right, it defeats the purpose of us being the United States of America. Our founding fathers poured their sweat and blood for us to have a Second Amendment right. And that is why they used the term right to keep and bear arms, because they knew the future of firearms, the technology would change. Instead of going after the perpetrators, they want to go after the manufacturers. It's all about making money, the mean green. That's what these gun control groups care about. They don't care about your safety or my safety. They rather you get disarmed and get robbed or get carjacked. Because if I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. If you get shot by a criminal, you're the victim. But if you use a firearm to kill the bad guy, or point a gun at a bad guy and hold him till the police gets there, the bad guy no longer becomes the bad guy becomes the victim, and the good guy becomes the bad guy. That's how they play the game. And it's a game they play all the time. They simply don't want you to protect yourselves. What these gun control groups should have done, instead of going after Remington and suing Bushmaster for the incident that happened at Sandy Hook Elementary School, the victims of Sandy Hook should have sued the family of Adam Lanza. Adam Lanza's family should have been sued. They're responsible for what he did. They should sue him. What happened in Parkland, Florida, they should go after the family of Nicholas Cruz. They should go after Scott Israel, the sheriff of Broward County. He was warned about Nicholas Cruz and he didn't do a darn thing about it. See, there's other things that these lawyers could do, but they care about where the gold is. The gold is the firearm industry, because they're the ones that make the money. That's what they want. It's about greed and selfishness, not about safety. And if anybody think this is about safety, then I'm sorry, you're lost. Then I suppose money grows on trees, if you believe that. Well, anyways, I'm going to read you this bill, or this law that GOA has worked tirelessly to get passed in the state of Tennessee. And again, I encourage those of you from the state of Tennessee, if Bill Lee hasn't signed this bill yet, make sure you call his office and demand that he signs this bill, because your future for Second Amendment rights depends on this. And not just in Tennessee, but for all states. So even if you're not from the state of Tennessee, still call Bill Lee's office and encourage him to sign this bill if he hasn't. I'm pretty sure by now, by the time this podcast is over, I'm pretty sure he probably already has. And if he already signs it, please leave a comment. Let me know if Bill Lee did sign it, because I would like to know, because it just would thrill me that if he did. Because it shows me that my voice is helping other people and protecting other people's Second Amendment rights. As an American patriot, I care about the Second Amendment, because without it, we wouldn't be free. We all know that the second protects the first and the first protects the second. That is why our founding fathers made those two important constitutional rights a top priority. So now I'm going to read you this news press, this news release by Gun Owners of America. And this was passed on April 15th, but this was given to me on April 21st. And it says, Gun Owners of America is proud to announce the successful passage of SB 1360/HB073, in Tennessee's General Assembly legislation aimed at significantly strengthening the legal protections for Tennessee-based members of the firearm industry. The bill, which is backed by GOA, passed both chambers with an overwhelmingly majorities on April 15th and now awaits the governor's signature, which in this case is Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. The critical legislation enhances Tennessee's version of the Protection of Lawful Commerce Arms Act, PLACA, creating stronger legal immunity for firearm businesses targeted by the radical anti-gun lobby. It sends a clear message. Tennessee is a safe haven for lawful firearms commerces, and it won't be used as a collection arm for unconstitutional out-of-state rulings. Then it goes on to say, the new bill fortifies the state's 2023 PLACA law in multiple ways. It expands legal protections to include additional industry players, including private sellers, suppressor manufacturers, and magazine producers. Prohibits Tennessee courts from recognizing or enforcing out-of-state or foreign court judgments that conflict with Tennessee's pro-Second Amendment public policy. Penalizes bad faith integration by imposing triple damages on out-of-state plaintiffs and their attorneys who attempt to enforce hostile judgments in Tennessee's courts in unpreceded safeguard for gun rights advocates and businesses. The bill is expected to further boost Tennessee's reputation as a national hub for firearms manufacturing, and the sale industry leaders like Beretta, Smith & Wesson have already relocated their operations to the state, and this law will incentive even more companies to do the same. GOA urges pro-Second Amendment states to follow Tennessee's lead by adopting similar legislation that shields their local gun industries from the ideologically driven legal assaults. Eric Pratt, Senior Vice President, Gun Owners of America, issued the following statement. Tennessee just made itself one of the most pro-Second Amendment states in America. With this law, radical anti-gun groups can no longer weaponize courts in California or New York to attack the Second Amendment industry in Tennessee. This is exactly the kind of bold leadership our movement needs to see across the country. Chris Stone, Director of the State Affairs for Gun Owners of America, added, this bill is a game changer for protecting lawful commerces in firearms. It ensures that the Tennessee businesses and gun owners are shielded from weaponized lawsuits coming from anti-gun states. GOA thanks Tennessee lawmakers for their leadership and urges other states to adopt this model. So there you have it. This is a great piece of legislation that will help protect your Second Amendment rights. So for everybody that is watching, I encourage you, if you live in Texas, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Arizona, or whatever pro-gun state you live in, encourage your legislators to adopt PLACA so that we can build a strong shield to prevent these frivolous lawsuits from happening. We need to send a message to these corrupt lawyers and to these corrupt gun control groups. You need to sue the families who are irresponsible with their kids and not the gun manufacturers. That's what needs to be done. Go after them, leave the law-abiding citizens alone, and leave the manufacturers alone. They're not responsible, just like Ford, Chevy, or any automotive manufacturer is not responsible for somebody's radical driving, or just like the alcohol industry is not responsible for somebody drinking and driving. Everybody knows that drinking and driving is illegal, but people still do it. People know that there are laws you have to follow when you drive, but people still do it. They still drive erratically. Road rage. So again, why do we have to blame law-abiding citizens when lawyers don't sue the alcohol industry or the automotive industry? See, these lawyers just care about the money. It was never about safety. So again, I encourage you to call Bill Lee's office. And again, if Bill Lee has not already signed it, encourage him. And if he already has, please leave a comment. I would like to know, because it'll put a smile on my face to know that Bill Lee has signed this bill, because it's a step to the right direction for law-abiding gun owners, and to send a message to these radical leftist gun control groups to buzz off and leave us alone. You know, we as law-abiding citizens, we like to get up on a Saturday morning, have a fun day at the range, teach our kids to plink, teach them the importance of gun safety, the do's and do nots of handling a firearm. And that's part of the American dream, to be free. See, the Second Amendment is just not just about guns, it's about freedom. Because if we don't have these freedoms, it defeats the purpose of us being a constitutional republic, and it defeats the purpose of us being the United States of America. And then our founding fathers' fight for independence was all for nothing. And we cannot allow these corrupt lawyers and these corrupt anti-gun groups ruin what our founding fathers fought for. They don't speak for the founding fathers. They don't speak for your safety. They don't care about you. They claim they do, but they don't. If you use a gun to protect yourself against a criminal, as I mentioned before, they now treat you as the criminal, and they treat the criminal as the victim. That's the game that these gun control groups play. Well, that is it for today for YO28 Arsenal Roundup News. If you have any type of important legislation that you want to bring to my attention, and you want the word to get out, feel free to send me an email at rjespinoza, that's ESPINOZA, roundupnews@gmail.com. Tell me what state you are from. Tell me what the legislation is all about. Tell me if it will benefit your Second Amendment rights or will affect your Second Amendment rights, or a governor that passed a law that violated your Second Amendment rights. We need to bring this exposure so that we can send a message to these politicians that there are people like me who are a watchdog, who will stand up for the law-abiding citizen. That's my job. Help me help you be your voice. That's what I'm here for. But until then, be safe, be armed, be vigilant. Protect your home, your loved ones, and your community, because that's what the Second Amendment is all about. It allows you to be free and to be armed and to protect both your community and your home as well as your state. Take care.